Right, welcome, Year 11 students and parents, as a matter of fact. So this morning I want to run through some common subject combinations and some strategies you could use to help you decide what courses might be the right ones for you. So these are all the courses that we had on offer at Wydene last year. So they're not this year's courses. Those are being worked on by Miss Jeremiah over this next coming week, actually. But this is a bit of a sneak preview of what it will probably look like. There might be a couple of adjustments. I'll explain more about those in a moment, but it will be more or less as is on the screen. Now, as you can see, there's BTECs over on the left and A-level subjects in the middle and on the right. There are, as you can see, more A-level subjects than BTECs. Now, we offer a mix. Some institutions don't. We offer a mix because we think that is the right thing to do and helps get the best out of students. So what could change? I would say the only thing that is probably likely to change would be BTEC computing. It's probable that we'll just offer the A level in computing. And there is going to be some debate about can we offer classical civilizations and film studies. The other subjects are much more well established and will be offered. Now, the other subject that is worthy of note are also the three over on the right at the bottom. Now, the AS courses there, they are all 1 year courses, all done in year 12. So that's language and literature, maths and context, and the food, science and nutrition. So they are worth half an A level. So you get UCAS points for those if you want to go to university, but they're not a full A level 2 year course. But you can do them as one of four. Now, that brings me on to my first issue, which is this. Should you do 4 subjects when it comes to your choices? Yes, definitely, until Christmas. Now, don't get me wrong, there's always an exception to the rule, so that it is not out of the question that we permit someone to do 3. It's that it's massively advantageous to do 4 at the start, because often people change their mind. And if you're doing 3 and you change your mind about something, that means if you're 3 weeks in and you change your mind, you've got 3 weeks of work to catch up with. It's very difficult. Also, students, after a couple of weeks or months, tend to struggle with 1 or more of their subjects because they're hard. The transition's difficult. Now, if you're only doing 3, it doesn't give you any real wriggle room to drop down to 2. We don't have students doing 2 because you wouldn't be full time. If you're doing 4 and you're struggling with 1, then at least we've got some flexibility to drop 1 and focus on your best 3. So we ask students to do 4 up until December, basically, when we do our first run of mocks in the first week of December. So that's my first really important issue to help settle. Next, should you do A levels or BTECs or both? Well, you can do whatever you like, really. I mean, yes, you can do 4 A levels or 3 A levels. You can do just BTECs, or you can do a combination. Any of those things are fine, depending on the following. If you are someone who wants to go to a Russell Group university, so that's top 24 universities in the country, so that'll be Oxford, Cambridge, Warwick, Durham, Cardiff, Bristol, Liverpool, etc. Those 24, there are others as well, of course, in addition to the ones I mentioned. It is advisable to do A levels only. It's advisable to do A levels only if you want to get into a top 24 institution. And you should also do 1 facilitating subject. Now, a facilitating subject are all those ones that I've put on the screen at the moment. They are any of the 3 main sciences: chemistry, biology, physics, maths, that's A-level maths, English, A-level English, and then history, geography, or any modern foreign language. All of those count as a facilitating subject, and if you want to go to a top 24 uni, you should do at least 1 of those alongside a number of other A levels. And beyond that, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter which A levels that you do something that you enjoy. More on that in a little bit, actually. Now, for everybody else, for everybody who wants to go on to a university that isn't in the top 24, or go on to an apprenticeship or into employment, BTECs work absolutely fine. In fact, if you're not going to a Russell Group, it's probably in your interest to do at least one BTEC because students find the mode and method of assessment a little bit more straightforward. So just to offer some clarity on that, with BTECs, they're different to A-levels in the sense that you have coursework for any BTEC, and students tend to do well at coursework, especially here. Also, the exams are modular, which means that you do a module and then you do an exam. So the first exam for BTECs is actually in January of year 12. Now, the advantage of this is that it means you don't have to revise as much content at the end of 2 years. You kind of tick things off as you go. It also means you can resit if you're not happy with how you did in your first module. You can do it again. So for that reason, students often excel at BTECs because, not because the work per se is any easier, but the method of assessment our students tend to find a little bit more agreeable. With A-levels, some have coursework, some don't. All the exams are at the end of the 2 years. Now, for some people, that works brilliantly. They work better like that, of sort of building their knowledge gradually. Sometimes doing an exam in the first year comes too soon for them. They like to mature into these things. So if that's you, if I'm describing you here, then A-levels would suit you better if you think it takes you time to grow into a course. Now, so how should you choose your subjects, or what should you base this choice on? Well, first of all, do you have a career in mind? If you do, then you're going to want to base your choices around that. So commonly, people who want to go into medicine and be a doctor, or veterinary science, or dentistry, or optometry, you can't get away from the fact that you are really going to have to do biology and chemistry, okay? If you want to do engineering, it's advantageous to do things like maths, computer science, product design, those sorts of things. So you've really got to think carefully about if you have a specific career choice in mind, like law, for instance, it's wise to choose subjects that are tailored to that. Now, if you're not sure, ask your teachers, ask me, simply Google it, and that gives you as good a wealth of information as any. And on the subject of law, for instance, what you'll find is you definitely don't need to have done law. In actual fact, lots of universities find it counterproductive for you to have done law A-level. It's far better that you do something more traditional and generic, like history, English, politics, those sorts of courses, rather than law. You can't also get away from the fact that, look, you're going to be doing this for 2 years. It's going to be a step up. You can definitely rise to the challenge, but it's very hard to rise to a challenge if you're not really interested in something that much and you don't particularly enjoy it. So first and foremost, if you don't have a specific career choice in mind, and most of you won't, think about, well, what do you want to know more about? What do you enjoy now? And it stands to reason you'll probably enjoy that in the future. And then tied to that is kind of what are you best at? What do you excel at? Now, for most students I talk to, students do well at what they're interested in. And I don't know which comes first, whether it's a chicken and egg, but what you're interested in, you tend to do better at. Or is it that you're interested in it because you do well? I don't know. But either way, those two things are like guiding principles for maybe how you should make some subject choices. What are you interested in? What do you enjoy? What are you good at? Now, subject combinations. I won't go through this in exhaustive detail because you're going to have access to this PowerPoint, but you could go down the road of choosing things that complement each other and work well. And there's some ideas on the board here on the screen. So you've got your creative subjects at the top. They can be a nice little combination. You've got kind of the humanities combination of in the middle. Now, you wouldn't necessarily think that sociology complements those subjects, but it definitely does, especially politics, I would say. And then we've got kind of like a businessy focus, fourth one down, obviously business economics. Sociology, politics already talked about the fact that they go well together. And then we've got a kind of like biological, psychological PE slant there at the bottom. So you've got things like sports psychology that fits well with. And then here we've got the classic combination of biology, chemistry, physics, maths. That's classic. If you want to go in and study science at university, classic combination there. If out of those four things, maths is your obsession, then why not go for maths, further maths, physics, and maybe computer science? Now, on the subject of computer science, that obviously is a growth area. when it comes to doing university courses in computer science, you don't need to do computer science at A level. In actual fact, maths is probably more applicable at A level than computer science is, if you want to go on and do that as a degree, just so you know. Then, of course, we've got the kind of like the more media-based one, media, IT, and business. They work well together. And lastly, kind of more of a caring combination, health and social care, psychology, sociology. So those are some typical combinations. Now, it doesn't matter really if things don't fit beautifully as a combination. Do the things you enjoy and that you're interested in. Also, bear in mind, there's nothing wrong in going for a complete wild card choice as well. You know, if you're really into science, fine. You know, biology, chemistry, physics, brilliant. Why not throw in like a complete wild card though? Something that you've never really considered before. You know, like an art subject, a performing arts, maybe a written-based subject, like English, for instance. That will help round you when you come to apply things like medicine. And of course, you will have to write essays when it comes to medicine as well. So there's no harm in doing something that's actually quite different and develops a different skill within you. So I think it's a brilliant conversation to have with your parents and with your teachers as well about the sorts of things that work very well. You will have access to this PowerPoint if you want to go back over it. And of course, if you've got any questions, please do come and see me or send me an email. That'd be lovely to chat to you about choices. So without any further ado, I can see it's bang on 9 o'clock. Have a lovely day and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.